right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, Susan, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. It's a Monday night edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We are always available to you on the Ireland Contracting Sports Call hotline, which is brought to you by Bordis & Bordis. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Call us until 11 o'clock. We will take your calls, and you can also tweet us. At KD Pomp is my Twitter handle. At Gene Collier is my esteemed colleague, Gene Collier's handle. And he's here tonight. We're talking about, let's begin with, Gene, C.J. Mosley of the Baltimore Ravens was surprisingly not franchised. This is a four-time Pro Bowler. He's only 26 years of age. Actually, I think, if I remember correctly, the Steelers passed on him and eventually took Ryan Shazier in the draft. I'm not sure of that exactly, but I think that's what I remember. But anyway, he's turned out to be quite a player for them. But it's a costly player. Should the Steelers look into it if he doesn't sign with the Ravens, they still can negotiate until like March 11th.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really should. Even the best inside linebackers in the draft, Bob, are not as valuable to a team right now as someone like C.J. Mosley, who always draws, great compliments from the Steelers coaching staff ever since he's been in the league. The problem, of course, is money. The Steelers have cap room, but they have needs other places. So. But as far as I'm concerned, C.J. Mosley is the best potential free agent for Steeler needs.
And I would say that since last year they went the John Bostic route, and that didn't work out. That was more of the cheaper route there, or they believe they can get something out of him that he really hadn't showed on a consistent level. This is a different way. This is a guy who's been there, done that. He knows the division well, and I would look into it if I were the Steelers. Why wouldn't you? And we'll see what they do with that. Also, there's talk all around the NFL as the combine has ended that, where is the trade value for Antonio Brown? Peter King went on and reported that he believes something will be done before they have to pay him the $2.7 million. So it could be any day, Gene. Mm-hmm. There are teams like the Raiders, the Redskins. Denver was mentioned today by Ian Rappaport in the NFL Network, as well as Arizona, which I don't know about Josh Rosen. What's your best guess, and has it changed at all since we started this process, which seems like an eternity? Please end it.
It really does. March 17th is the roster bonus day, $2.5 million. March 13th is the first day he can be traded. I defer to the people like Ed Bouchette, Ray Fittipaldo, Jerry Dulac. They think he'll bring a first or second rounder. I don't, but I'll probably be wrong for the 100,000th time.
Well, if there are a lot of people interested, then that could very well be true. We'll see how it goes. And Oakland certainly has a lot of picks available to them. John Gruden likes guys like that. I think John Gruden, if I had to guess, he would like Le'Veon Bell more than Antonio Brown because he is a guy who can be on the field. He loves pass catching, running backs, and that's what he does. The question is, how much are you willing to pay him? How much would you pay him?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Le'Veon Bell's proven anything over the last year and a half is that he is not on the field. He does not want to be on the field. So yeah. I think that's a no small consideration.
The other thing going on today was that the Penguins got back to work, and we saw Brian Dumoulin with a red non-contact jersey, but it was good he was practicing with the team after his concussion. Gene, he said that he didn't believe Wayne Simmons went after him as a headshot. It was, because the jolt was so intense, his head crashed into the glass, and that's where he suffered a concussion. But it was interesting to hear that. A lot of people felt it was a headshot. I did not. I thought it was just a high hit that had the effect that it had, and it turned out to be a concussion for Dumoulin. It's good that he's back, although it's amazing what they've done without their really four top defensemen.
Yeah, they've done a good job that way. There's no doubt about that. As for the Simmons hit, I thought it was not clean. I thought it was completely unnecessary. But it's one of those hits you see in hockey almost every night where hockey players cannot resist taking that kind of shot. The Penguins take them too.
They do. Everyone does. Especially now, you're going to see everything start ramping up. We're getting down to 17 games played. When I come back, I'll talk to Gene about Matt Murray and how much he should be used. I also want your take on this at 412-575-2600. We'll get into that. Anything else you'd like to talk about in the way of Pittsburgh sports? This is your place to do it. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, 7 nights a week on Pittsburgh CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. Where